All right, guys, welcome back to Unbuttoned. Our guest today is someone that we've been saying we need to have on the podcast for about 3 years.
Yeah, which I'm not sure why, but I'm here.
Yes.
I'm happily here.
So this is our friend Lauren Simon. She is a customer of ours turned friend.
Yes.
I want to say the first time we met was just when you modeled with us for the first time, wasn't it?
That was the first time that we met, but I've known who you all were longer than that. My cousin Corey, who is one of your neighbors.
I always forget about
friends.
that.
Yes. She, I think it was November of 2021.
Gosh, yeah.
Had said, she knows me. She knows my style.
Yeah.
My cousins and I are all very close.
Yeah.
And she was like, you have to follow Coco's shop.
Shout out to Corey.
Yeah, she's the best. So she's like, you have to follow them. Followed you all. And then I think my first purchase was in December of that year. And I think that almost weekly ever since.
My gosh, I've
had to put myself on
You're the best.
Spending hiatuses at some point because I'm like, I don't need any more clothes. But then the next
she's like,
week,
can you just hold this for me for like a few weeks? Because I can't buy it right now.
Can you just put a large to the side?
Yes.
Large is normally good. Just throw it over to the side. But I feel like I was really into fast fashion.
Yeah.
Especially like 2020 when you had nothing else to do.
Right.
And it was a lot of crap and it would fall apart. And I'm like, why am I spending money on this? I would rather support local. I'd rather support quality. And you guys have such good quality and really cute stuff. And I feel like, I know you all are moms and that's really your big thing. Like I'm not a mom and I feel like you still have a lot of really awesome stuff for us non-moms out there. Dog moms out there too.
That counts. That counts.
He was birthed from my loins. He is my actual baby. So
I love that.
So I've been, and then you put out like the call to model, and I'm obviously not a small person.
Yeah.
So I've always told you guys that whenever I see you guys model stuff, you're tall like me.
Yes.
But you're also very tiny. You've got your giraffe legs, as Lauren likes to call
Giraffe
them.
legs, yes.
And then Lauren's got a little more hips, but she's also very short and tiny.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard for me to get to see like what does that look like on somebody that's not small.
Yes.
And so I was very proud to represent those of us that aren't a small and aren't even a medium. And
So we had put out, this was, was that last year or 2 years ago?
I think it was November, or no, it was like August or September of 2023.
Yeah.
And I just remember that studio was so hot.
It was so hot.
And I'm Lebanese. I get real sweaty.
It was hot.
And obviously changing in and out of anything, even if it's like 50 degrees, makes you hot because you're constantly like moving. But I was like, I am like disgusting. Like nobody's going to want to buy these clothes
we
that
all
I've
were.
had on. Oh my God.
That is us literally every time we shoot. We're like in the winter, it's like the opposite problem. Our toes go numb and like
There's
literally frozen.
Forming on your sweat.
Yeah. We like stand in front of a space heater to warm ourselves up like in between. Then we're like, okay, ready to go.
Yes.
But so Lauren was willing to come and model for the size large girlies, which that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. Because number one, the courage for anyone that is not like a model to volunteer to get in front of a camera and model clothes is very intimidating and takes a lot of courage.
Yeah, well, and I think that even like, what does it mean to be a model?
Right.
Why do we think of a model?
Exactly.
And we know why, because we were millennials.
Exactly. Because
heroin chic was the thing
of our entire adolescent
upbringing,
like, influence.
And I mean, at least for me, it was generational. Yeah. I love my mom, but it came honest. So.
Totally. Okay, so
we had a long talk about this the last time I came in. So
we did. And it's also relatable. Like all
relatable.
of you women listening, like we can all relate to
100%
some sort of spectrum of body image, like struggles or insecurities or something. And it's just real. Like let's just be real about it.
It doesn't have to be life in a bigger body. Like even saying like giraffe legs or like
whatever.
Like it's like that's funny and cute, but then maybe it's also not.
Right.
Like maybe it doesn't make you feel good either that like, someone's making fun of your super tiny, beautiful legs. But like I think that can hold space in a lot of places for a lot of people that, know, your body is just so it's like sacred to you and how you feel about it. And you don't have to be big feel any kind of way.
I was
but
just
that's
gonna
just my
say,
experience of someone that's always lived in a bigger
totally.
body.
And I have friends that have opened my eyes to the fact that growing up really skinny is also has its troubles at times.
100%.
You know, like it's
you
like
need to eat a cheeseburger. You need this, not, you know, no one escapes that, especially middle school and like being young. And like those are, at least for me, those are the voices that stick with you. You know, those are the voices that are in the back of your head that don't leave until you kind of really unravel that and do some of your own kind of deep thoughts and work through that. And then
social media becomes a thing, and that is like it's not even voices, it's things you read, it's influence of like literally some
and the imposter syndrome and like thinking I'm not living up to the things that I should be, and the rise of fitness influencers, which is fantastic. But then is that double-edged sword where like being skinny and like that kind of industry turned into health and wellness.
Totally.
It's a diet industry turned into health and wellness, and then it's toxic in another way. And then there was the whole body positivity movement, which is also fantastic.
Yes.
But then that's also a two-edged sword of like, are we promoting being unhealthy, or is it really just okay to love who you are at every stage? Which it is.
It is. Yes. Yes.
There's just so many things. I could talk about this for the next like 10 hours.
To.
So buckle up.
We're going to. Okay. So one thing that I've always so admired and appreciated about you is how, again, complicated it can feel to show up in front of a camera, because there's maybe 0% of people who feel 1,000% confident
100%
all the time,
even
in putting their bodies
like looking
out there.
At this screen right now, we can see ourselves on the computer, and I'm like, oh, this leg is
I know
really legging right now.
But like, tell me about like your journey. Like,
oh man,
you show up to model, and you are like this confident presence that to me feels so confident. But then we started talking the other week, and like you too have had your journey of how you've gotten to a place where you feel appreciative of your body.
This is a 38-year journey. That still continues 100%.
So like, would you have modeled 10 years ago?
No, I wouldn't have even modeled probably like 5 years ago.
Right.
If you want me to start from the very beginning,
please.
I grew up in a very nuclear, wonderful family. I have one sister. She's 2 years younger than me. My mom has, to me, always been perfect.
Aww.
Perfect. She's blonde-haired, blue-eyed. She is tiny. She was tall.
Which, if you're not watching this video, Lauren is dark hair, green eyes.
Yes. So, I look like my dad. My dad's Lebanese. I look like my dad. But now I really embrace that. Like I love the way I look. I think because now being exotic is kind of in.
Well,
like
we just
whatever
had
that means.
Hour-long conversation about the hair products she uses, because her hair is absolutely. I'm like, that's not your real hair. She's like, it is.
It's fine.
And I looked at her scalp, and it is.
I let her feel my whole scalp, because I'm like, no, I would never lie.
She's sending me a full breakdown of all the products she uses, because her hair is absolutely beautiful.
We can link in the show notes, right?
Put it, yes. You're natural.
But my mom was blonde-haired, blue eyes. I grew up in the 90s. And again, I look like my dad, which I love so much now. And I always loved being unique in the way that I didn't know any other Lebanese people. I love the food. I love the culture. I love my family so much, to the depths of my soul.
Right.
But it wasn't cool when I was growing up to look different.
I was just going to say, I feel like, I now you look back and you're like, wait, I love that. I have this unique look.
And like, I also, I was 5 foot. I'm 5'9" inches tall. I was
you were taller.
I was 5'7" by the time I was in 6th or 7th grade. I was never small. I was never skinny. And I had a sister that was like 4'9" until she was 16. Was always super
funny.
Like, thanks, genetics.
So
was
funny.
Always super skinny. And my mom, I love her. She's the best mom on the planet. But she is, when you think of a crunchy boomer almond mom, she was 100% that. Whatever diet there was, we were on it. We did Atkins. We did South Beach, the Snackwells, Olean, like any low carb,
Slim Fast,
keto, the Slim Fast. Oh my God, like all of it. And so I kind of grew up, and we would go, I'd go to the doctor and my mom would be like, now you're going to get weighed and, don't. And that was so hard for me because she never took into account the fact that I'm also like, maybe I was in like the 90th percentile for weight. I was in the 100th percentile for height.
You just genetically are not the same.
And I look back on pictures and I'm like, I was never big.
Yeah, but you saw yourself that way.
Of chub or like, you both grow that when you're little, young. And I look back at those pictures and I think of how hard I was on myself even then, even as like a 10-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 12-year-old. But then I think of my mom and, we would go to the pool. My grandparents had a condo in Florida. So we would always go for spring break. We were always out and about at the pool.
Yeah.
And I remember her always wearing like a one piece. My mom was tiny.
Yeah.
And teach their own. That's your choice.
Yeah.
But she would say, oh, well, I've had 2 babies. I can't wear my belly. I can't wear one piece.
She's really hard on herself.
My mom my sister and I literally this morning, we're talking about how she is hyper judgmental when it comes to looks, especially with herself.
Right.
But like everyone around her. And that was really hard. And I also had this weird juxtaposition of my mom was a food judger.
Yeah.
But my dad is a food pusher.
Right.
He's Lebanese. And this is me, right?
Right.
Is everyone fed? Is everyone good? Is everyone full?
Yeah. It's the classic like Italian family.
Yes,
food is everything.
Mediterranean family. Food is everything. We would go to my grandparents' house every Sunday with my cousins. It's the thing that I long for the most that I'll never have again in my life are like those moments. Right. And we would go to McDonald's and get McDonald's because my mom wouldn't go. My mom would stay home and, get ready for the week, clean, whatever. Yeah. And that was our really special time with our dad. My dad traveled for work. Yeah. So he wasn't home a lot during the weeks. Like that was our time together. And we would go to McDonald's. Yeah. He'd get us McDonald's breakfast, which was, again,
such a treat.
Every food was bad.
Yeah.
Every food that wasn't a fruit or a vegetable or a lean, protein or whatever was bad.
Right.
So we got to have the bad food. And then we got to go to my grandma and pop's house and we got to eat all of this delicious homemade Lebanese food. And hearts were full.
That brought you joy.
It brought me so much joy. So I've obviously always correlated food with joy. Right. But then I've also always correlated food with bad.
With that. Yeah.
So that's really hard. So then,
I mean, that in itself, that is so like hard. So when you're 10 years old.
And how do you and I'm so proud of all of my mama friends who have, had very similar struggles that, raising their kids, especially their girls. And I'm not, this also happens to boys and I'm not trying to discount that.
Yep.
But especially with their girls, that food is neutral.
Totally.
Food is food. If we want to go get some ice cream, we're going to have some ice cream. We don't need to have ice cream with every meal, but it's just because we don't need to. It's not because it's bad or it's taboo or we can't have any of that. And that was the other thing in our house. We never had anything bad. Anything. Like, no candy, no sweets, no nothing. My mom would bake stuff and we wouldn't be allowed to eat it. And I'm like, that's for work or that's for whatever. And so when we would go somewhere, like we would go to my cousin's house, we'd go to my grandma and pop's house and, they had Oreos and candy and ice cream, whatever. My sister and I would like binge out
on it. That's the whole restrictive
which is
thing.
why I still struggle with binge eating.
Yeah.
And so we would go and we would eat, and then again, I eat that and I gain 5 pounds. My sister eats it and especially then would still be 4'9" and 80 pounds.
Right.
So it's just and she also has her own body. And I'm not trying to take anything away from her either.
No, totally.
She grew up in a smaller body, but
totally.
That was all very, very hard to grow up in. So by the time I reached high school, I was like 204 pounds because I was getting more and more independent. Oh, it got worse than that. I was getting more and more independent. I would obviously be going and doing things with friends, be at more friends' houses. And then when I started to be able to drive, we would drive home from school and hit up the Taco Bell Pizza Hut at Easton, baby. Yeah. And and I felt so much shame because I knew it was bad, but then I also couldn't stop myself because I'd never been able to just
be able to do that. You'd been restricted from it your entire life.
And then my dad but he was never big, but he would go kind of back and forth between maybe you need to lose 20 or 30 pounds.
Yeah.
So my dad and I started Weight Watchers together when I was a junior in high school, and I lost 30 pounds. I got down to 175. And
What was that experience like?
It was actually
for you?
it was great because I love my dad so much, and it was fun to have something that was like our thing.
Yeah.
And of course, my mom embraced it and we had all the Weight Watchers cookbooks, and she'd make all the Weight Watchers meals and all that stuff. And it was one of those, of course, early 2000s where we would literally we'd go to a church and they'd manually weigh you and put it. I still have like the booklet with my little stars on it. Got down to it. It was a good experience in the way of I felt like my parents were proud of me. And I feel like, obviously, I think that's the majority of us. All you want is your parents to be proud of you. And especially my mom. I thought my mom was proud of me.
Yeah.
That's probably something we could dissect a lot further for a lot longer time. But as anything happens, I gained that all back. Maybe not by the time I graduated, but once I went to college.
Yes.
And I went to OU, go Bobcats, only for a year, but I still consider myself an honorary Bobcat for life.
College is such a hard time.
So hard.
And body.
Well, you're going to gain the freshman 15 and you need to make sure to do this and you need to make sure to do that. Well,
just the drinking and the independence.
And I was never like a huge drinker, but I was also really not happy there. I felt very isolated. I started dating this loser.
I don't even know who he is, but I know he's a loser.
And he didn't go to my school. He went to school up in Michigan, but he would come down there all the time, and then I'd come home all the time. It was just not a good time. It was not a good time for me, and I probably gained at least 40 or 50 pounds.
Wow.
And that I kind of stayed in that area of weight until I was 23, and we broke up finally. So we were on and off for about 5 years.
Yeah.
We broke up. Revenge body time happened, and it really wasn't for him. It was for me. I really wanted to be healthy. I was unhappy and uncomfortable in my body, and I lost 70 pounds.
Wow.
In as many months, 7 months, and started spinning. And for me, that time in my life was so incredibly important because I remember taking my first spin class. My parents were with me. They supported me, and I thought spinning was a cult. I was like, this is so weird. I don't want to do this, whatever. My first spin instructor, honey, I still love her so much. She bops in, and she literally looks like a Barbie. Like this cute little bun on the top of her head that wafted out and little blonde hair, and she's beautiful. She does Pilates, and she's a physical therapist, and she is whatever you think of as the perfectly fit person. She's it. And she bops in, and I'm like, oh, I am fucked. I am never going to be able to finish this 45-minute class. I can't
45 minutes is a long time.
So what's funny is later on in life, I used to teach an hour-and-a-half spin class.
Oh, my gosh.
So full circle. But I'm like, I'm never going to be able to do this. This is terrible. But she was so kind. And she set me up on my bike, and she kind of walked through the different positions and all this kind of stuff. We do this ride. And at the very end, and I have no idea what song it was, but it was some song where it was instrumental at the end, and you kept climbing, right? So we're climbing, we're climbing, and that was the moment that I realized, I'd always been selling myself short, that I couldn't do a lot of things because I was never super athletic. I did sports when I was young, and I did gymnastics and stuff, but throughout high school and stuff, I didn't.
Which probably made you kind of avoid it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it was my first moment of oh, I can do literally anything that I set my mind to do. And then my cousin always says that there are people that are alive and there are people that are living.
So true.
And that was the moment that I realized what living actually felt like. Yes. And I wanted to do more of that.
So this was mid-20s?
I was 23, 22, 23.
Okay. Yeah.
And so then I started losing weight. I started taking strength training classes. I started taking dance classes. I started making a bucket list of things I wanted to do. I did a bike tour, and I did my first half marathon in 2013. And my weight, I lost 70 pounds, but I never really stayed there. It would kind of go up and down, up and down. And then, things do, I wound up in a relationship with another loser. We could unpack that also, how I keep picking these losers.
We're sensing a trend.
See, again, the confidence.
We've all been
finding
there.
your confidence.
We have
I'm telling
all
you,
been
it's
there.
a 38-year journey.
Yeah.
Started dating another loser. I had been up and down in my weight. It's not like it had been an easy maintenance.
Yeah.
but I held so much value around that weight on the scale, and I held so much value around, you know, how I looked and all of that. And
a lot of people do. Like that value and their worth is 1,000% dependent on that
And don't
scale.
get me wrong, I'm still vain.
Yeah, no, I know. And I mean, we all still struggle.
I don't do it. I don't care what anybody else thinks about me. I sincerely don't care. It's yourself. I care about how I present myself to the world. That's the difference. And I feel like that's the confidence is when you stop caring about what other people think. And I think that's something that was impossible for me to do in my 20s.
Including like your own family. Like how many people can relate to that, you know? Because like you said, you want to make your parents proud 100%. When you're growing up, whether it be
even still at 38, I want to make my parents proud.
Oh, totally. I don't know that we ever lose that completely. That. But I do think one of the beautiful things about getting older is realizing that like you don't have to care what they think about your weight. You know, like you don't give a shit.
It sincerely doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What I think about, and not even my weight, but just my relationship to my body in general, has been a lifelong journey. And so I date this loser, gain a bunch of weight, we break up, and ever since, so I had gotten up again at my like very highest. I had to step on the scale for work. I had to get on the scale. You know, you have to do your health assessment for your like flex stuff and all that.
Which that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing we could talk about.
Yeah, we got money based on our BMI, if we smoked, our blood pressure. Yeah, whole other story. But my blood pressure was high, and I'm like, oh, I have white coat syndrome. I'm because they had to take my blood. I'm like, take my blood, and then we'll do it again.
Yeah.
She takes it 5 times, and she's like, honey, after 5, like I have to mark it down that you have high blood pressure, and I was only 27.
So that was kind of a wake-up call.
And then I stepped on the scale, and I was 249 pounds.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, no. Yeah. No, I'm way too young, and I'm too young to have backslid this much. And, like, I don't want to do this. So that was 2016, 2018 when this idiot and I broke up. Mm-hmm. Then I started back at a much slower pace.
Because at that point, it probably became like, okay, this is like a health concern versus just a number on the scale.
This is not just physicality. Right. This is like, I want to be 80 years old and still here and still healthy and still happy. And
you're in your late 20s at that point.
I need to start doing something about it now. I probably should have been doing it. And that's where people that have never had to worry about their weight, I feel like I'm kind of grateful in a way because I am so health conscious in the way that like I don't really drink. Yeah. I don't drink caffeine. I don't smoke. Yeah. I drink so much water. Yeah. And I eat healthy most of the time. Yeah. But it's because like I know that I know how it feels to like
be unhealthy,
really shitty and be unhealthy. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of grateful for that. I mean, I wish nobody had to. I wish everyone was just happy in their body and with themselves and never had to worry about any of that. But I feel like I'm a better person, and I treat my body better for like having gone through how many times I treated it really terribly. Yeah. But yeah, I think the confidence part. I think it's really more of just not giving a shit what anybody else thinks. Right. You don't have to like me as a person. Yeah. You don't have to like the way I dress. You don't have to like the way I look. Yeah. And that's okay. I'm not for everyone.
There's such a freedom in that, giving yourself the permission.
And bless your 30s, because I'm telling you, these are lessons in my 20s that I could have never learned or understood.
Same.
And there's such a freedom that comes with that of I'm living my life for me.
Yes. And like you just realize that like doors open and relationships get better and like so many good things come from having that moment where you're like, why the hell do I care what Sally from high school on fucking Facebook thinks about this picture of me? Like, you know, like I think that as you get older, you experience so many like deeper things. Yes. And you just start to care less. Yes. I mean, at least that's been my experience.
That's been my experience too. And with that comes a authenticity. Yes. And I think it's the authenticity.
Totally.
That is so attractive.
Totally.
Or that comes across as being confident.
Yeah.
Because I just show up as I am.
Right. You really do.
And
you really do.
This is me.
Yeah.
This is me sitting on the couch with my dog. This is me with my family. This is me with my closest friends. This is me with my boyfriend. Like, this is me. And I'm 100% okay if you don't like that.
Totally.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
You like who you like, and if that's not me, that's fine.
Versus like in our 20s, if you heard that, you would like change something about yourself if you heard that.
I would have like
and you'd question yourself. Yes. It's like,
question
why?
your own self-worth. Like like when how your 100% of your worth is wrapped up in the way other people feel, whether it's people close to you or Sally on Facebook.
Yes.
That's such a chain.
Totally.
That holds you down, and the freedom of just being like, this is me and I'm showing up as me.
I think that's relatable, like with relationships too. Like, you know, I had a relationship and I look back and I'm like, my entire self-worth
was wrapped up in this person.
Was wrapped up in what that person thought of me that day. Yes. And one day it was, she's amazing and hot and funny. And the next day it was on to somebody else. And like,
and that up and down.
I was so consumed by that. And I look back now and I'm like, what the fuck was I doing?
Yes.
But it's also just, I think, one of those things that you have to go through in some form to.
And then work through afterwards.
Yes.
Because that was I'm a huge proponent of therapy.
Yeah.
After I broke up with loser number one, I went to a therapist because we had broken up, gotten back together, broken up again, and I decided I did not want that cycle to happen. I was changing course, changing direction. That's when I started losing weight, went to the spin classes, whatever. And
you were advocating for yourself.
Yes. Yeah. And I went to a therapist. I love her. She's, again, huge proponent for therapy and working on yourself.
Totally.
But she had said to me, I said, I don't understand why he has such a hold over me.
Right.
Like, he treats me like shit.
Right.
He's up and down, hot and cold.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Katy Perry, you're yes and you're no.
Yes.
You're in and you're out.
Yes.
Like, so bad. And I'm like, why am I still holding on to that?
Why am I doing
this?
this?
Why is my self-worth wrapped up in this person? And we really had to dial all the way down that, like, growing up and in through high school, we started dating right after high school, I didn't feel pretty. I felt big and I felt like I didn't fit into the world. And I still do weird things where, like, I hunch over because I'm tall and I want to feel like I fit into the world more. And, like, there's lots of unraveling with that. But she said that he always made you feel beautiful.
Even when he made you feel the worst, he made you feel beautiful, and that's what you were hanging on to.
That was the trade-off because you did not feel beautiful in yourself. Typically, when you are not a whole person, the people that will fill those holes are who find you, and they're typically also not a whole person.
Yeah.
And
then you end up bringing out the worst in each other.
In that moment, though, when I realized
you're like,
that it wasn't about him, it was about me, and that I had the power to control that and move on, was, again, as my 23-year-old self, was the most freeing experience I have ever had in my life.
Like a light bulb went off.
Yes, and I think even though there was, again, lots of years of idiocy left, I think that was the moment, though, that, like, very first kernel of, like, I'm in control of my own life.
Yep.
And I'm the only one that controls how I feel about myself.
It's cool that you remember that as, like, a turning point for you. It was a defining moment. Yeah.
And that's, I've told that story 8,000 times. Anyone that knows me listening
that's
to this is
I didn't
like,
know that, and I love that. That's like, and I bet you just...
We have so much power over ourselves that I think that not everyone realizes. And the second you realize how powerful you are is when everyone else starts to matter less and less.
It's so interesting you saying that, because I feel like the times that I have felt so, like, not in control and like I don't have power was when I was struggling with eating and with food. It's like, because I think that if people haven't, like, experienced, like, true eating disorder to the point where, and it's a spectrum for sure,
100%,
but, like, it is not something you can control.
No.
If it gets bad.
Yes.
You know, and it's like,
but
you want to.
You
so
think
badly.
You have control over it.
You think you do.
Yes.
But it is so much bigger than just eating.
Yes.
Like, it's a mental illness.
I would say, and maybe this is a hot take and maybe not everyone agrees, and that's, again, okay.
Yeah.
I think it is 100% as much of an addiction as anything. It changes your brain chemistry. It changes your dopamine levels.
I 100% agree.
When you are in that disordered eating time, like it's also hard because like for me, if you told me you can never drink again.
Right.
I'd be fine with that.
Right.
If you told me you can never, I don't know, take a gummy again.
Yeah.
I'd be like, fine, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Like, but you can't not eat. And
you have to survive.
And not only that, but you are surrounded by restaurants and food, and like that's how you participate, at least with me, like that's how you participate in life.
God, that is so crazy, because I have literally thought that to myself so many times, and hearing you say that too is so crazy. But that is what is so fucking hard.
You can't never eat again. And I'm telling you, if somebody said, oh, you can just take this pill forever and like this has all your vitamins and nutrients and you're healthy and you don't ever have to eat again, I would probably do that, because it would be easier for me than having food in my house or going out and eating and like not being able to stop, because I definitely have issues with binge eating. And even binge eating healthy foods. Like I could eat 10 pounds of salad.
Right.
Like it's hard.
I agree about
but
the
you literally
addiction
can't
thing.
get away from it. Oh, it is one, and it's I think just like any other addiction, you don't realize it's an addiction until it's too far gone. And I do feel like that's with a lot of eating disorders, or disordered eating, that you think you are in control because you feel out of control with so many other facets of your life. You think, I can control my weight, I can control what I put in my mouth, I can control my portions. And then, like many other addictions, it begins to control you.
And every aspect of your life.
I feel like I've been controlled by food my entire life, and that is 100% something I still struggle with and have accepted that that's something I'm always going to struggle with. And again, that's okay. That's my life path. I'm never going to be able to go out to eat with my friends and eat the same things or drink as much as some people or do whatever and not have to worry about how that affects my weight, especially because I don't want to gain any weight. I would actually like to lose weight, like, and that's okay. It's so hard.
It is.
And I will say it feels very refreshing getting to talk to somebody that you are, for all intents and purposes, a skinny, normal, whatever that means, but like that you also have the same issues, the same demons, maybe even more, because you have to keep up even more with like
it's hard.
The skinny girl trope of like, you know, if you gain 10 pounds, people are gonna be like,
well, right. And I feel like that is what
those giraffe legs aren't giraffing as much.
Right. Your legs get shorter.
Those knees aren't as knobby, girl. No.
That is totally what started my spiral. Like in high school, I was very into dance and I got into pageants. And so I was so
I feel like
motivated.
That could be a whole other podcast.
Oh, don't even get me started.
Do we need to start a series?
Literally, we should.
We should, because I
could unpack so much.
I would love to hear about your pageant experience.
Well, I look
and
back
how that has,
and I'm
affected
like,
your...
that was the trigger of all my issues.
Okay,
because that's when
I
started
even dance. Pageants.
Dance, like I danced my whole life. I feel like they kind of went hand in hand though, because
you know, that was a gateway maybe, or like a little bit.
And I mean, like with dance, we wore tight, skimpy outfits that showed our stomachs, and you know, I wanted to look skinny and good in them. And then you have these pageants where you're having to wear a fucking bathing suit on a stage,
and there are people
be
judging the way you look in said bathing suit when you're how old?
Like 16.
How does that not fundamentally change how you assign your worth
1,000%
based on your body?
Solely. And like I experienced this high of like getting attention for getting skinnier, and like I like was addicted to that, you know? And it truly is, like you said, I feel like I can empathize so deeply with people who struggle with addiction, no matter what the substance, because of my experience. And like, like you said, it's like some people are addicted to drinking. You can survive without drinking. You cannot survive without food.
Correct.
It's a huge part of life.
Yes.
And you have to have it in your life.
And it's a huge part of our culture.
It's
and
so
every
complicated.
Culture.
Yes.
It is so complicated.
Not to discount addiction of any sort, but I think that's what makes it so complicated, because it's not like you can just remove it from your life.
You can't remove your fridge and be like, I don't need to eat ever again.
And then we have hormones. If I could, I would. We have, you know, like it's
getting
just
older.
Yes.
Oh my God. Like creeping up on 40, I'm like, this is trying to like lose weight or be healthier or whatever. I mean, it is so different than when I was 23.
Right.
And could eat my lean cuisines.
Right.
And go take a spin class and lose 5 pounds a week.
Yes.
And honestly, kind of didn't even have to try.
Yeah, I know, right? And like my parents never ever, it was all me that started this. Like I really don't remember like your experience, like there being any. In fact, I think my mom is maybe one of the most like body neutral people.
Food neutral people.
Yeah,
yes.
She really is. And I so admire her. Sometimes I feel like it's hard for her to understand me because she really hasn't like had a lot of struggle with that. But you know, they just wanted to like support me. I wanted to do these pageants. So I had like a platform and I wanted to be the captain of dance. I wanted to dance in college. And they, of course, just wanted to support me. Yeah. So they took me to do these things.
Not knowing how much you were actually struggling.
Yeah. And honestly, at that time, like I'm thinking about like the pageants. At that time, I wasn't like struggling mentally as much yet, but it was the start of dieting and it was the start of the obsession and the calorie counting. And then I'm at my smallest and trying to stay there. And it was like not attainable. No. I was like 110 pounds or something. I'm 5'7".
Okay, I literally just had this conversation with my boyfriend this morning.
Yeah.
So I'm 5'9".
Yeah.
My BMI is never going to be in a normal range because I don't want to be 165 pounds, which is like the highest in my range.
Right.
But the lowest is 128 pounds. And I'm like, can you imagine me? I can't. So to think of how, like, you be 110, is that what you said?
Yeah, I remember.
I can't even imagine.
Vividly, like the month before the pageant, all I let myself eat was fruit. I would have like 7 bananas in a day, and that's all I would eat all day. So you can see, I mean, I was basically anorexic, you know?
Yes.
And I thought anorexic meant you didn't eat anything.
At all.
Yeah. Which is not the case.
Yes.
But
it's so much bigger than that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was kind of after all of that where things started to get really like mentally ill because I was like trying to sustain this very unsustainable weight and lifestyle.
And very unrealistic. And
Yeah. And I was terrified to gain anything because I had gotten so much recognition for being so skinny.
Yep.
And then college comes and, you know, the drinking, the partying, the eating. I mean, that's where it all, you know, but it's interesting. Like we have very different like childhood experiences, but we still have gone through the same shit.
Yes.
And I'm sure so many people listening can relate to one way or the other.
I can promise you every single person, male, female, whatever age that's listening, that they have been through it in some way.
Totally. I completely agree. I mean, look at the society that we were like adolescent in, you know, it was like the height of diet culture. It was the height of like social media becoming a thing and people posting their bodies and the comparison, like, and the body positivity was not there.
Not a thing. Well, and even just looking at like magazines, I didn't realize when I was young and I was looking at, you know, Cosmo Girl and TV and all these things that everything's airbrushed. Nothing's real. I'm like, how do these people, like, I have big pores. Like, I'm a sweaty, oily Lebanese girl. And I'm like, how do they have faces like this? And then I realized, they don't.
It's not real.
It's not even obtainable for them.
Right.
And that was something that it took me a really long time to realize. And I want to go back to one point you were making about how your mom was really food neutral.
Yeah.
Because I have always wondered if my mom was food neutral, how that would have changed my relationship with food. If food was just food, if we had candy and it was open and accessible and it could be there all the time. Because, you know, my cousins always had candy around and they never cared.
Right.
But I think your experience is validating in the way that, like, this really is my own journey. And, you know, it's obviously something I'll never know.
Yeah.
But that, you know, there's a lot of accountability for me in my own choices. And, you know, my mom only has so much responsibility.
Yeah.
And those kind of around me with my doctor would always be like, you gotta watch your weight. And then as an 8-year-old, like,
you're kidding.
No, my best friend, her sister-in-law, her daughter, she's young and, you know, she's maybe a little bit chubbier than your normal, but like she's athletic and she dances and does all this stuff. And her doctor had said something to the mom about like, you got to start telling her about, and I said, absolutely not.
At 8?
Do not say anything to her. the way that sticks in your head.
Oh my God.
It still affects me. I'm 38 years old. So this is 30 years ago.
You're scarred.
I
it's
hated
a trauma.
going to the doctor
yeah.
because I had to step on the scale.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have always associated, my relationship to gravity via the scale as something bad, where I don't think it has to be bad.
Right.
I think it can be very neutral, but it can't be for me because of like those kind of things that play in my head
with it. Yeah.
But that's when you were saying that about your mom, I'm like, that's really interesting that like, and obviously I'm sure that's at a lot of places or for a lot of people where, your parent was food neutral or maybe your parent was a food pusher or whatever. And you still develop that unhealthy relationship. And I really do think it was just societal.
Totally.
I mean, diet culture was huge.
Yeah.
Nothing was real, but we didn't know that. And that is, I feel like social media is a blessing and a curse.
It is.
Depending on the
totally
hour.
Is. Yeah.
But the blessing of social media was really ripping down a lot of those walls.
Totally.
And the body positive movement where it's like, just be whoever the fuck you are.
I know.
Embrace that. And that doesn't even just have to mean weight. That can mean if you have, a disability or a physical limitation or anything, or you maybe been in some sort of an accident that's, altered the way that you look. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
even just like the stigma, like just mental health in general, like the fact that more people, it's just become so much more normalized from people just being more open and honest about it. Like that, I feel like has changed so many people's lives because it feels same with like eating disorder or body image. Like it feels so shameful to feel so alone, and it's like you're hiding this entire like part of yourself. Because you're worried that if people know about it, you're going to be judged. And I mean, I totally agree. Like social media can be so detrimental if you're consuming the wrong thing. But I am grateful for what it has done over the 100%. Past decade with changing that narrative a little bit. And hopefully like it'll be good for our kids.
It's broken down so many walls. I feel like even the breakdown of wall of celebrity, how you can follow so many, and I don't care about pop culture. At all. Couldn't tell you the latest music. Couldn't tell you who's like cool. I don't care. But even just that, they post pictures of themselves in sweatpants, and it's not just the paparazzi following them around. Do you remember? I can't remember if it was People or one of those, but it was in there. It was like celebrities. They're just like us.
Oh yes, it was like the back spread.
Yes, and it would be them like smoking a cigarette and like drinking a Diet Coke and looking like a homeless person. That was always my favorite page. Yes, but it did because you felt connected to them. And then because the veil was always up, that they always looked perfect. They always looked on. Their makeup was always great. Their hair, everything.
It's just
and then
not
you
realistic.
would see those pictures and you're like, oh, they look like somebody that just rolled out of bed and didn't brush their hair and hasn't showered in 3 days, just like me.
Like,
and that normalizing that even more and like letting that veil come down. And then I think too, again, we had the rise of social media and the way that and influencing where everything looks perfect. And then I feel like that's come back around where people show you all the time how much that's not real life and that's not perfect. I even know on on your blog how you're like, here I am crying.
I mean, but that's like why I share that shit because like it just feels so not authentic.
No, it's like and it's like the whole imposter. Yes,
like,
it's like the whole imposter syndrome of like, this isn't really my life.
Yes,
this is part of my life for sure.
Yeah,
but this, and obviously, I have a following of 700 whole people, so and most of them know me, so like it's not the same. Like it's like you feel like you have to show up in a different way on the internet, but showing all those snapshots, it's like no one's life is perfect. No one's life is glamorous, even if you are the most wealthy, famous human being.
Everybody's
on the planet.
Got their shit.
Everyone has their shit.
Everybody has their shit.
And that's the corner of the internet that I appreciate. Is those that show up and show that, and it's not always shiny and polished and perfect, because that is so unrealistic. And that is, again, I don't have kids, but that is what I worry about the youth, that they will see that as realistic, and the only thing that's realistic in their life's not like that, which is exactly how we felt looking at the airbrushed magazines. And
I mean, I even feel that way with business, like, and that's a tricky one, because it's like, with business, you want to show up and feel so like alive and exciting and entertaining, and like there's a direct correlation between that and your sales.
Yes.
But then like I also just am like, a few months ago when I said we're having a really fucking hard year.
Yes.
I was like, is this a mistake to like share this. And it was not a mistake.
No, that's not a mistake at all. I remember that. I'm like crying along with you. Like, we support you. I think I literally got on and bought something just to, I don't,
Well, a lot of people did. And
I know that wasn't the point either.
Not at all.
That wasn't why you were doing that. But again, I think showing up, back to what authenticity. And I think in this world where we are now so connected only through our phones that we're looking for that genuine connection with people.
Yes.
Because
and with brands
don't get
too.
it in real life as much anymore. Yes. And when I had my little tiny charcuterie business, it was the same thing. Like I would show up with my struggles and I would post that, like I'm doing this on my own and this is really hard and whatever. And I think that authenticity again just always shows through. Yeah. And I think it connects you. Yes. And connection is something we are so sorely lacking as a society now that feeling that connection and feeling that like, oh, your life fucking sucks sometimes too. It is just so, like I said, so connecting and it just makes you feel closer to that person. Even if you don't actually know them and you've never met them before, you still care. And I think that's the community that you all have brought. And I think that's why at least I enjoy watching all of your stuff every day. Because you feel like friends. Yeah. And I feel like even before I met you all, the first time I met you, you had never met me before, but I'm like, oh, I'm just going to go hang out with my girls.
I know.
And I'm fortunate
really
that you actually like me too.
Oh my
And that now we're like real friends.
Yes.
But
I know Lauren and I have had a couple conversations recently about like hindsight. It's like we were so on a hamster wheel there for a while.
Oh, 100%.
And like, once we just kind of took a step back, like I see now, and I don't know, no one has said this to me because they probably wouldn't, but I feel like we lost a little bit of that there for a minute because we were just we were churning.
Like trying too hard.
Yes. Like we were literally like everything
I didn't
was.
See that, if that makes you feel any better.
Well, I just feel like we had so much shit to get done all the time that our feed was salesy.
Yes.
And perfect E.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and not even intentionally. It was just like.
I feel like that's a turn with a lot of like influence or like, when you're expected to just keep leveling up.
Yes.
What people originally started showing up for in that authenticity and all of that becomes a business.
Yes.
And it feels a little bit more of like a gimmick.
Yes.
And feels gimmicky.
Yes.
And again, that turns people off.
Totally.
They're like, oh, I don't want to support you. You're big time now and I don't need to support you.
Exactly. And I think that unintentionally that kind of was like where we were at when really behind the scenes we were not.
That's why you felt like you needed to like.
Yes. It's like we had to like uphold this like, and again, it was just such a churn and it was like, we got to keep up. We got to keep going. We got to keep going. And like it's been good.
To kind of take a step back. But I feel like that's especially when you have your own business, like you want to keep leveling up.
Yeah, totally.
Because if you stay here, then you're only going to go like down.
Yeah, and there are bills. Like honest to God, it's like you gotta make sure
to pay your staff.
Exactly.
You have 3 staff members under you. And you have to also pay yourself. Hopefully,
I know.
So it's like that's really hard. And I before I ever worked for myself, before I was an entrepreneur, I was always when people were like, "Oh, if you work for yourself, you work all the time." I'm like,
yeah. No, you really do.
Literally can't turn it off. It keeps you up at night. You can't sleep. You can't think about anything else. I mean, it truly, you are never not working. Yeah. And that's why I decided to stop because I was like,
and I honestly have
really
respect for that.
It is really hard.
And again, back to like protecting and advocating for yourself, like walking away from something if it's not serving you and it is just stressing you out and the pressure is too much.
Yes.
Like
that's
also okay. Fine.
And if it pisses other people off, that's fine. That's another thing I learned in my life is that you are literally never going to make anyone happy.
No, you can't ever.
Or make everyone happy.
Make everyone happy.
Do whatever makes you happy.
Yes, you're not living for those people.
And if you're in a business, do what makes the majority happy. Yeah. And the ones that don't like it, don't like it.
Yes.
But like, you're just never. And if you are constantly trying to make everyone else happy, you are going to literally kill yourself.
Well, and then I feel like that is also something people can feel too. Like if you are just putting on this people pleasing constantly, like because you're not yourself.
It's disingenuous.
You're not yourself. And people feel that even on the internet,
Yes.
All right, tune in next week. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.